Good evening, Karan. Welcome to the 9th edition of IHA. So, how's it going? What are your key takeaways from the day you spent today?
Well, it's been a pleasure being here, and Bhuvnesh and team always do an amazing job, your team included as well. And so far, we've had some really informative sessions. It's not been very, I wouldn't say boring at all, but for any conference, but I think it's not been very monotonous. Normally, you find a similar message coming from various speakers, but this time it's been varied in itself, and it was awesome having the Minister for Tourism and Culture here as well in the morning. There were a lot of insightful sessions so far, and I hope mine was one of them as well.
Lovely. So, the theme of this event is Atithi Devo Bhava 2.0, and so how do you see fresh investments and new opportunities redefining hospitality in India, not just in terms of infrastructure, but also in a way we elevate guest experiences to the global standards?
Yeah, sure. That's a great question. So, it has multiple parts to it, right? No one does hospitality like India does, for sure. I mean, I live in Singapore now, and I travel across Southeast Asia, which is also a market that I handle, and the way guests are treated in India is very different. And I would say putting the guest forward at the forefront of everything that a hotel or a hotelier does is something that India really excels in. And there were a couple of sessions where Dimitris from Wyndham, for example, touched upon the fact that Europe, for example, has lost its hospitality charm, but I think that's the pure play strength that India has. And then secondly, to your question of opportunities, I think right now we're looking at 2 to 3 years of high double-digit demand growth that we're coming on the back of, and I think it's important to be aligned on expectations moving forward. We can't expect the same level of growth or the pace of growth to sustain, but it's not that it's disappointing, it's just you need to be realistic from your expectations, because you can't expect to sprint across an entire marathon. You have to jog for a little bit, and this is a marathon, it's not a sprint race.
Do you think the tariff turbulence going on throughout the world will affect the hospitality industry in India? Because leisure is something that people can, avoid in the first instance. How do you see that affecting?
Yeah, sure. So it's going to have an impact on everything, but I think it's important to focus on what you can control. And unfortunately, tariffs don't happen to be something that you can control. So you're going to have to ride that wave regardless of how it plays out. But I think the second thing that helps India is it's largely domestic reliant. It's not very, very international inbound reliant. Like, I mean, we get about 20 million international inbound tourists, of which I think about 7 or 8 million are expats like myself coming back to the country. So it's not tourism. It's international inbound demand, but it's not tourism. So it's helping the flight sector, but it's not helping hotels, because I would rather stay at home. But then the fact that we're so domestic reliant and we have so many demand segments within India itself, I think is very positive for the industry. So tariffs or not, I think that's going to continue. The third angle that I would add to this is that there is a portion of Indian domestic travelers who are from a slightly more well-to-do background or have higher disposable incomes, who are traveling and choosing to go abroad. But I feel equally so, if not more, we're adding to the base of domestic demand as well. And infrastructure development, we've never invested in infra as much as we have now, so I think that's only going to play out positively for the industry.
Okay. If I ask you, with rising domestic travel and international interest, where do you see the next big growth pockets? Is it luxury, mid-market, or experiential stays?
I think the or is the problem with the question. I think it's going to be all of them, because there's always going to be that cream of demand for luxury, and we're seeing that in the data as well. We're seeing luxury hotels split themselves up from the lower class hotels more and more, but there's always going to be sustained demand growth for that segment. The second one that you gave me was homestays or mid-market segment. Yeah, that's definitely growing as well, because in India what happens is it's mostly a trickle down effect. Whatever is the performance of luxury, upper upscale, higher class hotels is then trickling down to growth after 1 or maybe 2 years into the mid-scale economy space as well. And lastly, I think alternate accommodations is also doing really well. But I don't think it's a will this grow or that grow. I think we're adding segments of demand to each of these pockets, and they're all different pies. No one's eating food from another one's plate.
Okay. From AI-driven bookings to energy-efficient properties, which technologies are delivering the most tangible ROIs for hotel operations today when we talk about technological integration in the daily basis operations of a hotel?
So I think from an ROI perspective, integration of tech is hard to calculate at the moment because we're only at the very base level of integrating tech into hotel operations. And I think it's more from an efficiency standpoint where it's much easier to calculate ROI, because if 10 people were able to do the job 10 years ago, now one person's able to do the same job, if not more, with the help of tech. So it's helping enable efficiency, which is a better ROI to calculate than exactly calculate. I mean, it's hard to calculate a return on the investment in tech right now because we're at the very beginning of it. And I'm a very big proponent of artificial intelligence and using these LLMs to gain advantage of just improve your own knowledge. And I feel as long as you're curious enough, you can be ahead of whatever you know currently.
How do you see the whole sustainability as a concept indulging into the hospitality industry right now? How do you see the industry is doing in that terms?
So it's definitely moved beyond just a metric on a report card, for sure. And we're seeing more and more conscious travelers who are preferring sustainable destinations or hotels that choose sustainable ways of sourcing. And we're starting to see that happen. Now, it's not happened to the same degree in India as it has in the West, for example, but that's always a growth phase that we're getting into, right? So it's changed from just being a good thing to have to sort of like a given and must have for most hoteliers and most operating companies or management companies or even owner companies now, right from the design phase itself. So it's definitely something that's going to gain more importance as we progress.
Okay. BW Travel just got launched today. What do you think about it? And is it the right time for such a magazine to come out in the Indian market? And how do you see the magazine going through in the next 10 years?
Firstly, that's an awesome initiative, so congratulations on that. I had a look at the magazine as well, and I don't think the space is crowded. I think there's always room for more. It's the same with hotels stock itself. For example, everyone wants to grow, and I think BW's done a fantastic job with that play and element as well of having that magazine. The right information is always hard to find, so if you're able to filter that out and filter the substance out from the noise, I think it'll do fantastically well.
All right. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Lovely talking to you.
Lovely talking to you as well, Kashish.